a sign of original signwriting is when you see misspelt words.
Yes.
I cannot stand a sign that says videos for sale, but it's video apostrophe S.
That's right.
How rare.
Well, you'll be happy with computers then, because they don't have apostrophes, do they?
Nothing noticed though.
Yes. But I've done a few mistakes. I'll tell you, one of them was occasional furniture. Had a OCCAIS. IONAL. Not only was it wrong, but it was marked out on paper, because when you're working on glass, you'd mark it out on paper, stick it on the outside of the glass, write it on the inside in reverse. So I've gone through all that process, written it in, not even noticed there was another I in there. And when it finished, of course, I noticed it. Can I do it with that? Because I'd actually done the lettering, then painted the whole thing in behind that as well. So it was a finished job, and the person didn't mention it. And I was desperate at the time. So I took the money and ran. So I was there for years on Canterbury Road. There's a prop shop now on Canterbury Road down near towards Campsie Way, and it was there for a long time. And no one ever rang me up and said,
downstairs, there's a Chinese noodle place as you're going out.
Yeah.
And every time I'm sitting waiting for the bus, I'm reading Verminelli.
That's a tasty dish, ratatouille style. But the other one was, there's a company called Adam Signs that used to do massive skyscraper signs, big neon signs on skyscrapers, and I used to do their other work sometimes. So down at Glebe, near the Excelsior Hotel in Glebe, and they were having lunch one time, the guys that worked there, the big boss, with his big cigar, and I'm working in the snack bar at the back of the Excelsior, writing the menu stuff on the snack bar, on the bulkhead above where you order your food. And they're talking the same thing about spelling mistake in signs, and it'd be great if a big spelling mistake in a big neon sign. That never happens. And I said, oh yeah, I've made a couple, and I told them a couple, and I'm writing away. And I stopped and I said, there you go, have a look at that. I'd written, please place odours at bar. What I'm talking about making a spelling mistake. I left it at the R. So luckily it was still wet, I could clean it up. That was spectacular. Fred was talking before about how sometimes when you turn up at a job and people, there's different groups of people. Some people know what they want, exactly what they want on the sign, and you're there, they're great, because it's their fault then, if something was their fault. Then you get another person who doesn't have any idea about what they want, which is not too bad either, because you can use your own style, and you get the blame for it, but you can use your own style. The worst one is the one that thinks they know what they want and don't know what they want, and you've got to try and convince them that they're on the wrong track. But that's difficult. There's a lot. I said to Fred, there's a local guy near Sydney there. I've picked up a lot of jobs where he's left. He's argued with the people and stormed off. He couldn't stand it. So you've got to have a bit of patience.
Any final questions?
Have you brought any of your own paintings today to show us?
No, I didn't bring a painting. My daughter has got most of my paintings. And question here. Yeah, but
yeah, I just want, when you say you make a sign, targeting in England on the houses. In Lebanon, there's a chap who he's done most of them, the new ones, but there's still on the old. And this chap refused point blank to pay his bill. And he said, are you going to pay your bill? So he said, no. He said, what can you do about it? There's nothing you can do now. So I put a rat in it.
oh,
Right, really prominently. As you come down the street, you see this rat. That's he refused to pay the bill.
yeah. Well, I've got one of those too. There's another songwriter who used to work doing Peter's Ice Cream with us, and he was doing a foreign order, as they're called. When you work for a company, you do something on the side. That was a foreign order. And he was doing a foreign order for a milk bar, and he painted whatever it was on the side, and he knew the guy was a bit iffy about paying from the start. So what he did was he painted, the sign was finished, he painted it with boiled linseed oil. Have you ever used boiled linseed oil? It never dries. It's like linseed oil, but it's the opposite. It never dries. It's you want paint to last a long time so you can move it. Put some boiled linseed oil in, not too much though. So he painted this boiled linseed oil, which is clear, and it looked like he finished the job. He goes to the guy you're going to pay me? He says, no, not at the moment. You know, the old story, I've got the checkbook, forgot the ink. So then he says, I'll come back in a few days. So he says, righto. So, and the next day, because it was sticky oil, it's got bugs and dirt, everything stuck onto it. And the guy rings up, what's happened to my sign? It's hopeless, my sign. He said, well, you're going to pay me, I'll fix it. The guy says, oh, okay. So he comes and pays him, and then he just washes it off. It hurts. But that was a pretty involved plan, wasn't it? I would have just said, see you later, mate. I can't be bothered arguing. But, yeah, I do have a couple of debts, and they're written on my visor of the car. So I write each car I get, I write their name and how much they owe me on there. So there's a couple on there. So want another sign done? Okay, you just got to pay for first.
Just, you know, for those of you that get Randwick e-news, does anyone get the e-news from
Yes.
I'm not sure what you have problems, but I find the font is very, very low grade, and there's not enough contrast. And I've written to the communications officer at Randwick Council saying, I'm not sure if I'm the only one that has difficulty reading this very faint gray font. Could you not darken up the font, because it is a strain? And I think it's the look. I mean, you know, that I'm somehow, you know,
Exactly.
you know, it probably there's an aesthetic issue. But I thought, gee, if the e-news cannot be read, is it it might look nice, but we don't know what it says.
Well, there's one from the Herald too. A few years ago they changed, you know, the old English, beautiful old English on Signwriting Herald. It used to have an extra highlight line in the lettering, and they took that out. I don't know if anybody noticed but me, but it was beautiful style. They just took that. There was no reason to do it because it was going electronic. Easy to print electronically, but I took it out. Strange.
Well, look, we've been a break, but this has been absolutely fascinating. Enjoyed every moment of it.
And there's some books to look at here too, folks. Just to finish off, this is a good one if you can find it. Palace of Signs by a guy called Keith Smith. He used to do a show years ago where he talked to kiddies. Yeah. And he was a sign, and he had I thought I had a bad apprenticeship. This guy was working in a foundry, stoking coal into a foundry. That was his first job. Then he went from there, I guess about 13 or 14, went to a signwriting company, which he said was worse. But really fun. This is hysterical. Like, you know, you don't have to be a signwriter to laugh. It's great stuff. And this is my play, which I'm selling copies for $180. Jokes. Jokes. This is a play I wrote about A&D Signs, where I served my time. We put this on up in the Southern Highlands. We've been trying to get on in the city, but it's pretty hard to get a play out in the city. But you can have a quick look at that one too. A lot of blue language in that one. This has got a little bit about my dad's stuff in it too, so I'm going to have a look at that. The Windsor group doesn't get much of a mention in the art world, and I think it's mainly because they were all sort of socialist, lefty style characters that were a little bit outside the establishment. But they'll be recognised one day. This is job I did not so long ago. It was for a yoga centre with an almond. How to make it sort of a, what do you call that, a shrine, I suppose, maybe with fruit or something.
You designed that, did you? Did you design
that? No, that was funny. They actually got this thing here, was bright orange and yellow. It was from a Nickelodeon show or something. It was a reverse garbage, and I painted it up to, to suit to more suit yoga. And this is a job I did recently. Had to build this massive archway, Chinese style, for a kung fu centre. You can see there's photos of the kung fu happening there. So I do all sorts of different things. I should say no to some jobs, but sometimes I say yes and suffer for it.
Actually, there's one form of literature you never touched on. There's a gilding on professional sweets work. So
yes, that's talking about that. Yes, talking about a dying art. If I had to do it now, I'd have to go back to my textbook and study it to remember, because it's so involved. I was going to bring a gilding tip to show you that. That's a brush that's got hair about that long and a cardboard holder, and you actually rub that on flick it on your hair, and you pick up the gold leaf with it, and it sticks onto the glass. very involved process, but it's
Put
lovely.
it onto your hair.
Yeah, that electrifies the
Oh.
chip. That's why I've got long hair, so I can I don't think I like it in long hair. The tray. Love to get a haircut. I'm making my dreaming of a haircut.
I don't suffer from the same problem.
Doing the gilding. Oh, just to answer that, I haven't done a gilding job for. That's in gold on the glass. There's two sorts. There's like you see an honour board in a club, which is transfer gold. The other one is loose leaf gold, which you use for picture framing as well. You know, to decorate a picture frame. But I haven't done a gold leaf job for about 5 years, and that was the last one was for an honour board, group of honour boards for a private school in South Strathfield. But it's so rare. They decide, no, I'm not going to do that. We'll get a whole new board and we'll do it all with stick-on gold, which looks dreadful. But that's how it goes. This is, it's going to cost them. If something's done in gold leaf, it's 3 times the price, at least, of an ordinary letter. And they used to charge by the letter. Signwriting used to be charged by the letter.
Is it stuck permanently, or you have to spray something?
With the gold leaf on glass, it's a very serious process of layering behind it to back it up with colour, with black and so on. On a gilding board, you just do it straight gold. You don't put varnish on that. If you use it outside, you need to varnish it.
Better if you have questions, I'm sure Max will
Yeah, I'll
be
hang
happy
around.
to
I'll hang around. Yeah.
And thank you very much, Max. It's been a lovely
My
talk.
pleasure.